We did it. By the time you're watching this video, this means that this channel has officially crossed over from the double-digit subscriber mark to the triple-digit subscriber mark, meaning that I'm basically more or less famous within my local community. Now, I want to thank you all for your support on my last video. It means the world to me. I'm glad that you guys were able to resonate with what I was talking about in terms of designing and finding your own purpose when it comes to things like that, especially when it comes to art direction. And for that, I'm wearing my celebratory hat to congratulate myself and you on a job well done. But unfortunately, that's where the good news kind of ends. See, the last video you watched was filmed using my handy dandy, trusty, albeit a little bit old and unreliable at this point, Canon EOS M6 Mark I, also known as this camera right here. I picked it up maybe 5 years ago during my freshman year of college as a digital media student. I needed something reliable with good quality, and I've taken thousands of pictures with this thing, thousands of videos. I've put it through its paces, and it's always served me well, even though it has a lot of annoyances about it that I'm not a big fan of. Now, the main issue is that the last video you watched is probably the last video that you'll ever see shot on this camera. And that's because this camera has an issue where if I point it at you and I take a picture, it throws up an error code, unfortunately. Now, under normal circumstances, I highly recommend that if your camera is broken, not to throw it away, to give it to somebody else, to recycle it, or especially if you have the money for it, to get it fixed. It's better to reuse things that you already use than to go out and buy a new one, especially considering that cameras are kind of expensive. Now, a lot of people will tell you that the best thing for you to do is to use your iPhone. I'm recording this video on an iPhone 14 Plus, and a lot of YouTubers do record their content with iPhones. So for some people, getting an iPhone, recording videos, that's all you'll need to get started, and then you spend time investing into other things. I've been through it all, and a lot of my videos, a good portion of them, are also recorded on iPhone. I'm not discrediting this. To get a pro iPhone, or if you already have a pro iPhone, take some videos and stuff like that. But the issue is that I'm a professional, and as a professional, I need to, well, be able to see what I'm doing, and also to have good quality microphones. As a person who specializes in audio, using one of these is not gonna cut it, especially since we are now professionals. So I decided that I would go out and buy a camera. Okay, now I have my thinking and theorizing hat on, because we're about to get real meta with this. So the thing about buying a camera is that it's not hard as long as you have the time, the knowledge, the money, the experience, and the general understanding of what it is that you're looking for, what you need, and how you're gonna make it all work together. Really simple stuff. So after you spend like 4 to 5 hours on Reddit or YouTube, and by 4 to 5 hours, I mean probably 4 to 5 hours a week or 4 to 5 hours a day, you're ready to buy a camera. Good for you. Now, the main camera that people will recommend you for video and video production is the Panasonic GH5. This is your golden boy of the budget consumer grade video camera. There's nothing wrong with it. It shoots 4K. It has an unlimited recording time, 422 internal RAW, and then a bunch of other features that make it really beloved by video and content creators all across the globe. Now, if you do have money and you're balling, most people will tell you to pick up a Sony a7S, whether it's a Mark II or Mark III. Most people picked a Mark III, and you literally cannot walk 4 feet in the YouTube creator landscape without hearing somebody throw that name out at you like it's a Freddy Krueger goddamn jump scare. Unless you're Marquez Brownlee, who for some reason shoots on red and then got the whole industry convincing themselves that they need to shoot on red, even though you don't need cinema grade, literal cinema grade camera equipment to make YouTube videos. But he's rich and I'm not, so what the fuck do I know? Now, the main thing about buying a camera is that it gets really expensive. So what you'll probably think to yourself is that, okay, I'm just going to use market and buy a camera. How hard it can be. I've seen lots of Reddit posts where people are like, I got a GH5 and a lens for $500. I'm here to tell you that in 2025, today, that is a fucking lie. I have been in 3 eBay bidding wars for a GH5 over the last 3 months. I have won 0. I'm at a complete loss. I'm 0-3. I'm at a complete loss. My series is over. Like, I clean sweep. Which is why, in an attempt to put my money where my mouth is, I ended up picking up one of these a Panasonic G9, which is basically the hybrid little brother of the GH5. It does have some limitations, like it doesn't have unlimited recording, it also has to get the vlog update and a bunch of other features, but this is a solid camera, and considering I'm always traveling and shooting things, this is what I like. I even paired it with a 14 to 45 millimeter Panasonic OIS micro 4/3 lens. I'm actually very surprised at how small it is, but overall it cost me, put the number on screen, just put the price in the bag, for $620 in total. It wasn't the worst decision I can make, but it wasn't the best decision I can make, especially since there's a lot better for a lot less, and let me explain. Oh, we reached the halfway mark of the video. It's me, Corporate Shill Sam, wearing my corporate shill hat. Just letting you guys know that if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely like, definitely subscribe, put a comment down below. We call this call to action in corporate land. Corporate Shill Sam out. The first thing I want to talk about is the Canon EOS M. It is a really old APS-C camera, released all the way back in, I believe, in 2014 or 2013, basically before I could drive or I had acne. The good old days, some might say. And it was the community beauty. Like, it's a joy of the community. You take an EOS M, you load Magic Lantern, which is a special Canon software, onto it, and it basically unlocks the ability to record in 10-bit RAW. And with this is where we get into the DIY spirit. People were able to basically put cracked software onto this Canon camera to give it a feature that Canon didn't even intend for it to have. People actually took the camera apart, put it in a 3D printed body, added heat press screws onto it, and turned it into its own individual cinema camera. The DIY creator in me was like literally losing its mind. Okay, this is a Raspberry Pi. It's a Raspberry Pi 3B, and it's one of my favorite devices that I've ever owned. It is one of the most ubiquitous, small, ARM-powered computer boards in the world. They've sent it to space, they've used it on the ground for servers, supercomputers, anything you can think of. The Raspberry Pi Foundation and its beloved community has found a use to turn this small board into something great. And then I discovered a project called CinePi, which basically set out to take a Raspberry Pi and turn it into a cinema camera, whatever lens mounts you want, connected to whatever sensor size you're able to get your hands on, for under $500. This project is probably one of the most impressive, ambitious projects I've ever seen. In my wonderment, I spent a lot of time looking up what it would take for me to build a CinePi. And basically that led me to find out that there are two other CinePis that have released since the first one, the CinePi V2 and the CinePi XL. CinePi XL being a bigger 1-inch sensor version of the original CinePi with a more square design and a grip handle for ease of mobility and ease of direction when basically doing running and gunning shooting. Now looking at the part list, we can see that it's actually not that complicated, and it's all listed clearly here on the GitHub, which I will link below of course, to get it built out. Raspberry Pi, HQ camera module, square sensor, some other little parts to go with it, some wires, and basically all the things that were required to get this camera going was a bit of experience, common hand tools, and a soldering iron. And there's even pictures basically creating a step-by-step guide on how to get everything going, from the soldering to the placement to the distances between boards. This is a really detailed guide that I highly recommend that you look at. This might be a hot take, but it is my honest to God belief that the CinePi project and projects like it, whether it's the CinePi XL or anything else worked on by the DIY community, including the EOS M6, is probably one of the most important additions to the camera industry within the last 5 years. Back in the day, the DSLR Revolution gave common people access to what can be considered television or near television quality filming in a time where digital cameras, quite frankly, just suck. And I think that this is the next frontier of that step. Building your own camera with your own integrated sensors, or taking old cameras, firmware upgrading them, and then repurposing them into something special. I mean, going out and watching a camera review for a camera that costs $2,300 is all fine and dandy, especially if you're doing professional work and you need something reliable. But if you're a tinkerer and a camera enthusiast, or just a big fan of taking on what is the next frontier, open source cameras and open source camera hardware is your next step to getting into another level that may not have been accessible to you financially. And if your goal is to get videos made as simply and easy as possible, well then go out and buy a cheap camera. Go out and pick up something like this, an EOS M6 or an EOS M6 Mark II, the customizability of a camera is second to none when it comes to producing video and content. There's a reason why people spend tens of thousands of dollars on Hasselblad cameras, even though realistically they don't need to. There's a feeling to it, and that feeling is something to be celebrated. This is easily one of the most expensive videos I've ever made, especially if you count the cost of the camera that I'm currently using, the G9. But I wanted to make the point that there's a lot of options out there. And if we're gonna go buy a camera, to think carefully about what it is that you need, what it is that you want, and what it is that you can afford. And I think that today I've shown a couple of options that might be a better choice for a lot of people. Sure, the GH5 is the golden boy of the video camera world, and I would personally highly recommend it as a choice. The G9 is a secondary, but there's something absolutely alluring about the options that the M6 and the CinePi present respectively. Now, personally, I'm a big fan of the CinePi. I think that the M6 prices have gone way up considering what they used to be worth. They were like $80 back in the day. Now they're like $200. That's ridiculous. But the CinePi specifically, using these components that are off the shelf or easily orderable online to build a cinema camera that can do 10, even 12-bit log internally or to an SSD of your choice, that's some really important stuff. That's really cool. So if you guys would like to see me maybe one day take a crack at the CinePi XL project, maybe not too soon, I did spend a lot of money on this camera, but if you would like to see me take a crack at the CinePi project from start to finish, leave a comment below, like, favorite, subscribe. Let me know what else you want to see me work on or discuss. I'm really proud of the progress I've made so far. I have a lot of projects planned. I finally got one of the missing tools that I needed to work on another project that I've been working on for God knows how long. So definitely let me know what you want to see me work on next. I've been Ray. This has been my channel, and I will see you guys all next time.